What's up, you guys? I'm gonna just send this out real quick and then we'll start the show. Burning going down. All right. All right, you guys. Let's get into this. All right. We start with we have Nebraska versus Illinois. That game is tonight, Friday. This show is being recorded on Friday. It's live on Friday. So we got number 24 Illinois versus number 22 Nebraska. I gotta say, this is both teams' biggest game of the year. Both teams are here to prove something. Illinois came off of a victory this 2 weeks ago versus Kansas, which they weren't supposed to win. They beat Kansas. Kansas hasn't lived up to the hype. We all know that. But Illinois is starting to stir up some stuff. So can Illinois beat Nebraska? They're an 8.5-point underdog going into this game. So the question is, can they slow down this Nebraska offense that has outscored their opponents 102-20? So can they? And can they pick up the pace? Can they make this Nebraska's offense, who is the 14th slowest pace offense in the nation, can they get them to pick up the pace? Can they change the tempo? Can they do what the Jets did to the Patriots last night? Can they do that? Can Illinois get Nebraska off of their game? Because it seems like everything is going right for Nebraska right now. Everything is going all cylinders. And you can say the same for Illinois. These two teams' biggest challenge, the one thing that I got to say with Nebraska that you got to look for, which is their offensive line gets a lot of penalties. 7.5 penalties so far they average. Their O-line averages. That is not good at all. They need to work on that. They need to do better with that. But the thing, though, I got to say, though, that what Illinois is going to be doing is they are running it 67% of the time. They're not passing it a lot. They pass it a little bit, but not. They're mostly a run team, and I feel like Nebraska is the same, but Nebraska has Dylan Raiola at quarterback. We all know what he can do. He's a true freshman, but he's showing that he's something totally different than what everyone thought. Everyone knew he was a high-talent prospect, but he's doing stuff as a freshman that Nebraska got themselves a guy. But I got to say that I want to see what Illinois can do. They're only allowing 1.7 yards per pass play this year. So let's see if they can stop this passing and offensive onslaught that Nebraska is going to try to give them. Nebraska, the players to watch for Nebraska is Dante Dodell. This year he's got 184 yards. They have two running backs. Emmett Johnson is another one to look for in Nebraska. Nebraska technically has 4 total running backs, but the top 2 is Dodell and it is Emmett Johnson. There's another Johnson. I forgot his first name, though. But there's 2 Johnsons for running backs for Nebraska. But Dante Dodell proved that he is the leading back in these first 3 games. Quarterback for Illinois is the player to watch for Illinois. He has 69. It's Luke Altmaier. 69% of his passes this year, 647 yards, 6 touchdowns, and he has no interceptions. So it's interesting to see there. And the player that I got to say for defensive for both teams, the player to watch is Xavier Scott, who has 4 tackles, 1 sack, and 3 interceptions for Illinois. He's a DB. I want to see how he goes against Naylor and all those weapons that Nebraska has shown to have this year. I want to see what they will do. I want to see how Xavier Scott goes. I want to see how both these teams' defenses handle each other. Tonight, I can't wait to watch this game. Nebraska's defense has only allowed 7.3 average run, which is 13th in the nation. I'm interested to see how this plays out because Illinois is 3-0. Nebraska, 3-0. Whoever wins this is going to be a top 20 team after this. Some could argue maybe top 15. Whoever wins this is going to be top 15 after this game, and I'm interested to see how what's good, Omar. But I'm interested to see how Nebraska can do this. How will Nebraska... I won't tell you who I got until the end of the show, because you already know how that goes. But I got to tell you that if you are a bettor and the spread is 8.5, I would choose Illinois in this for the spread. If you're a bettor, trick the spread because it's 8.5. I think it's going to be closer than most expect. I think this has the possibility to be a shootout too. It could be a Big Ten game and could be a very low scoring game. Either or, I can't wait to watch this game tonight. And I can't believe it's on a Friday night they put this game. Because no one expected Nebraska and Illinois to be what they are right now. Then we have our next game. We have USC, Michigan. We all know Michigan is not that same squad as last year. They're not even close. They just got destroyed by Texas. They beat Arkansas State. They only scored 28 points against Arkansas State. I'm not saying Arkansas State isn't a terrible team, but they're not a team they're not a group of 5 team that people are talking about that's going to make the playoffs. They're not. And they only put 28 points up there. Yes, their defense is good. Yes, we know that Michigan has a defense, but the problem with Michigan is their offense. They're sitting Alex Warren. Warren. I don't know his first name. I think it's Alex. They sat him because he had 6 interceptions. And they start Alex Orji, but we know Orji doesn't have an arm. He's shown that he doesn't have an arm this year. It's been proven. So we know Michigan's going to be running the ball in this game. But the problem is their running back, Donovan Edwards, hasn't shown up this year. He hasn't shown up. It's been Khalil Mulligans. He's from Massachusetts. Shout out Massachusetts. He's from up here. He's got 270 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's the running back this year. And it's sad because everyone was hyping Edwards up. Edwards is this, Edwards is that, and Edwards hasn't shown up yet. Can this be the game that Edwards finally goes? Or will he not show up? I gotta say that. I'm very disappointed in Edwards this year. And I really didn't expect Michigan to have a great year because of all those new teams in the Big Ten and all that. But I expect them to put up a little bit more of a fight. So I'm hoping this doesn't become a blowout because I got to say that Riley Moss has impressed me for USC. We all know what Lincoln Riley can do with quarterbacks. He made Caleb Williams a first overall pick and a Heisman. So, he can do magical stuff with his quarterback. So now I'm interested to see how USC attacks this. We know Riley Moss's favorite target is Jacoby Lane, who had these crazy catches already this season. So he has 5 receptions, 66 yards, and 1 touchdown. Yes, he only has 66 yards, but he's a big playmaker. If you get him the ball, he's going to get big plays. USC is averaging 37.5, but the difference is with USC, it's not your typical UFC team where, yes, we all know USC will always have offense. But this year, they got a defense. Last year, they surrendered 34.4 points per game. This year, they're only averaging 10 points per game. That is insane. That difference, that's a 24.4 difference in points per game. That's 3 touchdowns and a field goal. Less than they're giving up. Do I think this is going to be a shootout? No. Do I think this is going to be a defensive matchup? Yes, I do. I think this is going to be a great defensive matchup. I really do. I think this is going to be a great defensive matchup. And make sure you guys look for Michigan D-line, Josiah Stewart. But I got to say this, though. Michigan's got to get more pressure on quarterbacks this year. They are not pressuring. Yes, they got sacks, and they got a couple sacks here and there. But they need to pressure better. They need to do better. That's what I'm looking for Michigan. We need Michigan to do better this game. It's a can't-lose game for Michigan, or they're out of the playoffs, in my opinion, because what they have left on their schedule. If they lose here, then they're done. They won't make the playoffs. USC, they can afford to take 1 loss. You know what I mean? They can go 3-1. But Michigan, you gotta win. You can't be 2-2. You can't be. So it's a must-win for Michigan, in my opinion. Then we got Utah, number 12, Utah going to Stillwater, Oklahoma to battle the 14th overall Oklahoma State Cowboys. And that's going to be a hot game. They're saying it's going to be like 97 to 100 degrees that game. And by golly, that is terrible. I feel bad. Like, I would hate to play in that. That is just, damn. And the question is, can Ollie Gordon be Ollie Gordon that we all thought he was going to be? Because he's another, talking about Dylan Edwards, Edwards for Michigan, who hasn't done nothing. Another prime example is Ollie Gordon. People are saying he's going to be a Heisman hopeful, this and that. Well, he hasn't shown up for nothing. It's been seventh year quarterback Alan Bowman who has stepped up. He's got the 7th ranked passing offense in the nation. He's doing what he has to do. Both of these teams, Oklahoma State is one of 8 teams in college football right now that has not allowed a sack. So the question is, can Utah get a sack? They already have 11 sacks in 3 games. So can Utah get a sack, get the first sack that Oklahoma State has allowed this year? I think they really can. We all know that Bowman's favorite targets are Presley and Stripling. We know those are the 2 that he'll be going for. Cam Rising for Utah, another 7th year quarterback, is returning from a hand injury. Not a good hand injury at all. Don't know what even happened. Supposedly he got a hand injury on his throwing hand. He's back now, so will that affect him throwing? So will they be running it more with Mika Bernard, who has 274 yards, 1 touchdown, and he's averaging 91.3 yards per game? So will they do that? Or will they pass the ball? I don't think so. I think they're going to be running. I think they'll run a lot more. I think Cam Rising, you'll see a lot more Cam Rising runs this game. I think that Oklahoma State's going to try to get Ollie Gordon going again because he hasn't done nothing this year. He hasn't. And the player for Utah that is going to be playing on Sundays in the future is Van Fillinger, who has 17 total tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 3 pass deflections as a defensive end. Yes, you heard me right. He has 3 pass deflections as a defensive end. Insane numbers right there for 3 games, you guys. Insane numbers. 4.5 sacks in 3 games. That's like Will McDonald for the Jets, who has 5.5 sacks in 2 games. And there's 2 games that he's played, or back-to-back games. He has 5.5 sacks. That's insane numbers right there. And I don't know why he's not talked about more. But then we got to go with Nicholas Martin, the Oklahoma State linebacker, who has 26 tackles. So both teams have great players on both sides of the ball. I think this is going to be a shootout. From my personal opinion, I think this is going to be a shootout. I think so. I think Alan Bowman and Cam Rising are going to put up a game. I think it's going to be an amazing game. High scoring. If you are a better, pick the over on this. I don't think this will be a big defensive matchup. I think defense will step up when they got to. But I think that this is going to be a very offensive game, and I can't wait to watch this game because I feel like it's going to be a shootout, an old-fashioned Big 12 shootout game. Passing, running, big plays, everything you want to see in college football, I think you're going to see in this game. I really do. I think that both of these teams are going to be just gunslinging it and running it all over each other. I really do. I think this is going to be a great game. Then we got Tennessee versus Oklahoma. Number 6, Tennessee is going to Norman, Oklahoma. They are a 7-point favorite, Tennessee, as they go on the road. And from what I've seen, I think Tennessee is the real deal. I just want to know if maybe they throw a couple different schemes at Nico, but I think Nico is the guy. I think Nico is that guy. I think that the spread is 7. I think this could be a 2-touchdown game. I really do. I think this could be. Tennessee leads Oklahoma in the all-time series 3-1. These 2 historical programs have only played each other 4 times. And the last time they played each other, or you want to hear something funny? Josh Heupel, the Tennessee head coach, is a Sooner legend who won the Sooners a national championship. So he's returning back to Norman, where he won a national championship in, but as an opposing coach. That's got to feel weird for him. That's got to be a little bit surreal moment for him. And it's got to be amazing to think about. It's crazy to see, you win a national championship for this team, and then 24 years later, you're playing against your alma mater that you won a national championship for. And the last national championship that Oklahoma has won, you were the starting quarterback and the star player. That's just crazy to think about. That's a full circle moment, and you only really see it in college football like that. You really do. You only see that happen in college football. And this is the first ever SEC game for Oklahoma. So you know it's going to be loud and rambunctious down in Norman this weekend because their first SEC games against a top 10 team could be a top 5 team if they win this game. Oklahoma, I feel like either this team wins. I think if Tennessee wins, they'll be a top 5 team. They'll move them up. And then Oklahoma, they'll be a top 10 team if they win this. Vols have outscored their opponents 191-13. You thought Nebraska outscored their opponents a lot? No. Tennessee has. But I'm not going to lie, Tennessee hasn't really played anybody. So, and I got to say that Oklahoma's defense is allowing 264.7 yards per game and have forced 10 turnovers. So, in 3 games, 10 turnovers in 3 games is insanity. That's a lot of damn turnovers in 3 games. 3 games, you have that many turnovers. That is insane amount of turnovers right there. But can Oklahoma find their offense? Can Jackson Arnold get it going? Because he's starting to look like more and more of a disappointment, if you ask me. I think that the player to look for on Tennessee, yes, it is Nico. Yes, you always want to pay attention to Nico because he can make great plays. But it's their running back, Dylan Simpson. Simpson is the difference maker he really is. Nico and him are the 2 difference makers for Tennessee offense, but I really think that the real difference maker is Dylan Simpson. You stop Dylan Simpson and put all the pressure on Nico. I think that's what they're going to try to do. Stop that Tennessee run game and make Nico use his arm, which Nico does have an amazing arm. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I want to see Tennessee get down a little bit. I want to see how they handle this. I want to see how Tennessee handles this game, how Nico handles going to this very hostile environment for Oklahoma's first ever SEC game. I want to see how this Tennessee offense handles, how Nico handles it, and I'm very interested in this. It's going to be a hot one because in Stillwater, it's going to be 97-100, and same place here. It's going to be a hot one down in Oklahoma for both of these teams. Hopefully, both these teams stay hydrated. I think you're probably going to see a lot of cramping going on in this game. Because Tennessee has had 64.3 points per game. Yes, you heard me right. 64.3 points per game that Tennessee has allowed or has scored. And they've only allowed 4.3. So Oklahoma gets 1 touchdown. That means they've scored more than half their opponents. If you really think about it. That's crazy to think about. Oklahoma's defense is what to watch, especially the 2 D linemen, Mason Thomas, who has 3 sacks, and Grant Halton, who has 2.5 sacks. Those are the 2 guys to watch that could maybe be stopping Dylan Simpson. That could be the people stopping. It's the D line for Oklahoma that could be the difference maker. But I think that players to watch is the Vols. The Vols are the team to watch in this. Oklahoma, I think, is a little bit overrated in my opinion. I think they really are. They haven't even gotten over 400 yards in a game yet, total offense. Not saying that's bad, but I don't see the hype in them. That's the best way I can say it to you guys. I don't see the hype in Oklahoma. I really haven't this year. I don't believe in Jackson Arnold. I think they do have good players around them. I think they do, but I don't believe in their quarterback. Maybe he can prove me wrong this weekend. Maybe Jackson Arnold can prove me wrong. Hoping he does. I'm hoping he proves all of us wrong. Because if Oklahoma pulls this off, I will be very surprised. I'll lie to you guys. I'll be very surprised if Oklahoma pulls it off. I know they're at home. I know that. But this Tennessee team is just different this year. They're scoring at ease against everything. I know they haven't really played a challenge. They had NC State, which was their challenge, you could say, this year. But NC State isn't what they were supposed to be this year. They're kind of, I gotta lie, they're kind of a disappointment. Yes, they're 2-1. But that 1 loss was the Tennessee 51-10 is insane. 51-10 they lost. That's bad for business. Bad, very, very bad for business, you guys. 51-10. Wow. All right, then we got the battle for the Floyd Rosedale. Or the big-ass bronze pig, as I like to call it. This is going to be a defensive battle. If you like offense, don't watch this game. In general, don't watch an Iowa game. And I know that this thing is a little bit messed up. I apologize. I just had to do this one because I couldn't find no other good image of it. And I don't have my editing software right now. It's down, so I can't edit nothing. I apologize, you guys. But it will be back up in the next couple weeks. I promise you guys. So, but yeah, it's just with Iowa versus Minnesota. We know that if it's an Iowa game, it's not going to be high scoring. I mean, Iowa, yes, they put up 38 points last week against Troy, and they've been averaging a good amount of points, but it's Iowa. We know when they get into Big Ten play, they turn their offense up and they turn their defense up. The difference maker for Iowa this year is Caleb Johnson, their running back, who has 479 yards, 6 touchdowns. He is the difference maker. If he gets going, Iowa can get that Floyd Rosedale back to them. Because Minnesota won it last year, you guys. But the thing with Minnesota is they have a very old school style offense. They really do. I got to say, both teams kind of do have old school style offense. They're both ground and pound teams that it's going to be a trench battle. I'm not going to lie to you guys. If you were an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, like in high school or playing football, you're going to love this matchup because they're going to battle in these trenches. They're going to back and forth in these trenches. It's going to be a great trench battle because Minnesota has 2 running backs that are good. Darius Taylor has 188 yards and 3 touchdowns and has a receiving touchdown. And then you got Marcus Major, who was a transfer. I don't know where he transferred from. I forgot that. But they're both putting up. And Minnesota hasn't allowed a passing touchdown this year. Minnesota has the 5th overall defense in the nation. I'm not saying they've played big names. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they haven't played anybody big. But I'm saying is that Minnesota looking pretty good, if you ask me. 5th overall? Why isn't Minnesota getting talked about more? Like, should they be talked about more? I know they're 2-1. I do know that. I do know they have a loss. Both of these teams are 2-1. Minnesota lost to North Carolina first game of the year. But then, since then, they haven't allowed a point. Beat Rhode Island 48-0. They beat Nevada 27-0. They have a hard 3-game road stretch. They go Iowa, Michigan, USC. If they beat Iowa, I feel like that's a huge win for them. I think that Minnesota could do it. They have the defense. It just matters if they can stop Caleb Johnson. If they can stop him, then I think Minnesota will have a game. But if Iowa can stop that Minnesota rushing attack, Minnesota may be in a rough time. I really do think this is going to be probably a 10-3 game, maybe a 7-6 game. It's going to be a very low scoring game. And if both of these teams score in the 20s, I will be surprised. I will be. I don't see this going to over. I think the over under is 37.5. I understand that is not a lot of points at all it's both teams. That's bad. But I think that Minnesota and Iowa are going to battle this out. It's going to be a battle. And Minnesota, if you guys didn't know this, Minnesota leads the all-time series 63-52 against Iowa. I always thought, I never knew that. I learned that as I was doing my research for this game, that Iowa is losing this all-time series to Minnesota. If you guys didn't know that, let me know in the chat. But I just found that out myself, that Minnesota leads the all-time series with Iowa, 63-52. That's a very interesting fact. Then we got our next game. We have our Group of 5 matchup of the week, in my opinion. The Group of 5 matchup of the week is the Pirates going up against the Flames of Liberty. East Carolina versus Liberty. Liberty is a 6-point favorite. East Carolina is coming off of a heartbreaking loss to App State, who App State last night wasn't good. They got ran over and over and over on. So, how will ECU bounce back? ECU has turned the ball over 11 times. But they have forced 7 turnovers. Still terrible. 11 turnovers that ECU has. can Liberty be the first team to rush over 100 yards on ECU this year? Do I think they can? Oh, hell yeah, I think Liberty can do it. Do I believe that hype that Liberty had last year is there this year? Hell no. Liberty is not that same team from last year. They have been figured out, in my opinion. Do I think that ECU has a shot at beating them? It's any given Saturday. It's college football. Anything can happen. Liberty has a good team. East Carolina is shown they can battle. They can stay in there with teams. So I think it's going to be a good game. The player to look for on this, yes, the secondary for ECU has struggled this year. They have. They struggled a lot. But they have this first round talent named Siobhan Ravel. Remember that name, because he will be playing on Sundays. From ECU, he has 2 interceptions and 2 pass deflections this year. That ECU secondary is not great, but he is the star shining. And he is that star player that ECU has on defense. And I gotta say that I think if Liberty's starting running back, Quentin Cooley is day-to-day. Still don't have no word on that if he's playing yet or not. He's day-to-day. Last time I checked, which was yesterday, he was day-to-day. And can Billy Lucas step up again? The backup for Liberty, can he step up again and produce? Can he? I think he can. ECU is going to be throwing many different looks at this high-powered Liberty offense, and I think this could be a difference maker. Will Caden Salter not fumble the ball this time? He has 3 fumbles, 2 lost fumbles. Can Caden Salter hold on to the damn ball, or will he not and lose it? So this game has a lot of questions around it. Very interesting game. I believe it is on ESPN Plus, though, which is the sad part. Let me look that right now. I think this could be. I could be wrong. But let me look. I think this is on ESPN Plus. I didn't write that one down. I hope it's not, because I kind of want to watch it. It's on. Are they going to tell us what it's on? Yeah, it's on ESPN Plus at 6. Damn. I hate when they put some decent games on ESPN Plus. I know why they do it, because they want you to buy the ESPN Plus. I get it, but it's still annoying. Then we got Coastal versus Virginia. Not a bad game. Not a great game. Coastal is 3-0. Virginia is 2-1. If Coastal can force Virginia into third down, they can win this game. Because Virginia is 125th in the nation on third downs. Coastal has 6 turnovers, forced 6 turnovers, and Virginia has 7 total turnovers. So Coastal, this is set up for a good Coastal game. It really is. If they can stop that Coastal, or they can stop that Virginia defense, or that Virginia offense and get to third down, because Virginia can't capitalize on third downs. It's been shown this whole year they have not been able to capitalize on third downs. So if Coastal Carolina can get them into third downs, then I think you see the difference. Did it not change? Or is that the last one? Alright. Yeah, there's Coastal. My bad. It didn't change. I thought it changed over. I looked down at my screen and it didn't change. But yeah, I think that's going to be the difference maker if Coastal can get Virginia into that third down. And Coastal's a very running team this year. I got to say that. Virginia's in for an awakening. Hopefully their D-line and their second tier on defense linebackers are ready. Because if not, it's not going to be a good game for them. Not at all. Then we go to our next game, which is Clemson versus NC State. I think Clemson will dominate this. I can't lie to you guys. I think Clemson, what NC State has shown against real teams, which was Tennessee, they lost 51-10. I don't believe in NC State. NC State, they have great players. They have good talent. They have Grayson McCall at quarterback. They have Jordan Waters at running back, and they have Kevin Concepcion at wide receiver. But that's about it. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, that's all that NC State has. That's really it, and it's shown this year that if you shut one of those stars down, it will turn into a avalanche effect. And I wanted NC State to do good. I really had a lot of hope in NC State. I can see I think I wrote it down somewhere, what I had them going at. Let's see. I had NC State going. They're a sleeper. My prediction was 9-3. I said their floor was 7-5, and I think they may hit their floor this year. I really do. From what the product that I have seen on the field is not what I expected. It's not. Not at all. I had a lot more higher hope. Maybe they could prove me wrong in this Clemson game. I want them to. I want this to be a good game. But if not, I think Clemson's going to walk them like a dog. I think they're going to walk them like a dog. Right down the field. Every single drive. Not every single drive, but Clemson just needs to do what Clemson is. What they did against App State is what's getting me with Clemson. 66-10. I mean, App State just lost 48-14 to South Alabama last night. And they didn't just get beat last night. I watched those highlights, and by golly, that was a blowout. From the opening kickoff, it was done. But then we go to our next game. We have Louisville, number 19, Louisville versus Georgia Tech. Louisville's a 10.5 point favorite. I don't know how the hell they're a 10.5 point favorite. I get that Georgia Tech did lose to Syracuse. But the key points in this game is it's the first big challenge for Louisville. First big challenge. Louisville has 3 running backs to watch for. They are a running team. They have Tyler Shaw at quarterback. Excuse me, that was a good burp. I got another one. Excuse me, I apologize. But then we got Louisville. They have Keyshawn Brown, Duke Watson, and Isaac Brown. Those are the 3 players to look for, and that could be a big difference maker. We all know what Georgia Tech has. They have Haynes King at quarterback, and they got Jamal Haynes at running back. This could be like the Oklahoma State-Utah game. This could be so high scoring, it's not even funny. Both do. I gotta say, I think both do got good defenses. Georgia Tech's got that linebacker. I forgot his name, but he wears the neck roll. We all know Georgia Tech has the defense and they can show up. And I'm interested to see if this is gonna be a shootout or is this gonna be a closely contested, low-scoring 2 to 3 touchdown scoring game. Do I think that will happen? Probably not. I think that you're gonna see this being more high scoring than you expected. And our last game on the docket to talk about before my predictions is Virginia Tech versus Rutgers. Virginia Tech already lost to Vanderbilt this year, so honestly, and Vanderbilt just lost to Georgia State. I'm not saying, shout out Dorian Royale. Shout out my boy, check out that interview. He transferred down there. He was at Maine first, but shout out to my boy at Georgia State. But Virginia Tech, were they way too overhyped going into this season? Yes, it's shown. If they win against this game against Rutgers, it will be a huge win. It will be. It will be a huge win for either squad. With the Rutgers, we all know they got Kyle Managia. I can't say his last name. I haven't been able to since he's gotten into college. I call him Kyle. The running back for Rutgers is disgusting. I think he's gonna have a breakout game in my opinion. From what I saw with that Vanderbilt game, I think this is gonna be a classic. If Rutgers wants to win this, they gotta establish their run game early though. They can't try to establish it late because it'll be too late. They establish it early, then we'll have ourselves our game. We will have ourselves a great game, and I'm interested to see how that will go. Now, I will get into the predictions, you guys. My predictions, we start with Illinois versus Nebraska. We start with Illinois versus Nebraska. And I don't have all the graphics for these. I don't, because some of them just couldn't find stuff for. I couldn't get stuff for. So just keep with me, okay? We got Illinois versus Nebraska. Illinois is, both of these teams are 3-0. I already talked about this, and I think that Nebraska comes out with a W here. I think Dylan Raiola and that offense tonight will just win this game. I think it's going to be, like I said, much closer. I think it'll be a field goal winning game. I think that Nebraska wins this. Next we got, well, on my paper it's different, so I'm just going to go like this. I'm just going to, boop, that's gone. Next we got NC State versus Clemson. I got Clemson. Like I said, I think Clemson's going to walk them like a damn dog. I don't believe in NC State. I had belief in them at the beginning of the year, but from what I've seen, Clemson is going to be the overall better team. NC State's a three-man team, just like Colorado in my opinion. I think that NC State is better than Colorado. Obviously, they have better pieces. Not saying that Travis and Shedeur aren't top players in the country, because they are. They are. They really are. But everyone else around them, Jimmy Horn, he's good. Will Shepard, he's all right. But with NC State, I just don't think what I've seen from them when they played against Tennessee, I lost hope in them after that Tennessee game. It was 51-10. Yeah, that's not. Clemson may do the same thing against them. Then we got Kansas versus West Virginia. It's a must-win for both of these teams. Kansas has to win. West Virginia has to win. It's on at 12 p.m. on ESPN on Saturday. It's a must-win for both of these teams, but I do think that West Virginia will get the upper hand from what I've seen from Kansas. Jalen Daniels is not that person or that quarterback of last year or the year before that. The injuries have taken their toll on Jalen Daniels, and this is not good. It's just not good. Kansas is not playing good football. Not saying that they should have lost to Illinois, they should have beat Illinois easily, but I thought they were supposed to. I thought they were going to beat them pretty well. But I was wrong in that. And Illinois now is 3-0, and they're staring down Nebraska tonight. And Kansas is staring down West Virginia. Could be staring down a 1-3 start to the season, and Kansas will be back to being Kansas. Then we got Virginia versus Coastal. And I'm a surprise to people. I'm going Coastal here. I think Coastal's run game is going to be the difference maker with that quarterback Vesey. I think they will be the difference makers. I think Virginia does have a good squad, but I think Coastal will get the upper hand here and go to 4-0. I really do think so. I think that it's on at 2 p.m. on ESPN Plus. I really have a lot of faith in Coastal in this game. I really do. That could come back to haunt me. It really could, but I don't think it will. I got Coastal in this. Then we got USC, Michigan, and we already know. I'm going USC here because Michigan doesn't have an offense. Michigan can't find nothing on offense. They can't figure out what they're doing. They can't figure out their left from their right on offense. And Edwards, their running back, hasn't showed up. It hasn't showed up from the star that we all were saying he is and this and that. It showed to you guys how much Corum meant to that team last year. And JJ. It showed you. I just think Michigan is not that team like they were last year, and I think that they take another loss and go to 2-2. And USC goes to 3-0. That's how it has to be. Then we have Georgia Tech, Louisville. Louisville's 2-0. They're the number 19 team in the country. We got them going up against Georgia Tech. I really haven't seen much from Louisville. I haven't seen any of their games. I can't lie to you guys. They do have a good amount of running. But I got to say, I like Georgia Tech in this. I like Georgia Tech. I won't be surprised if Louisville wins this. I'm going to say this now. I won't be surprised if Louisville wins this. It's on at 3:30 on ESPN2. But I really got to say that I think that it's going to be Georgia Tech taking this game and winning it. They are the underdog in this by 10.5 points. And I think that they heard that and they've taken that with disrespect, saying, you guys are doubting us just like they doubted them against Florida State. This is what that's giving me, those Florida State vibes in Dublin. They're doubting Georgia Tech, and they prove don't doubt Georgia Tech. Yes, they lost to Syracuse, but still don't doubt Georgia Tech. Then we got Tennessee, Oklahoma. I think Tennessee got this game. I think this is going to be this could be a high-scoring game for Tennessee, not Oklahoma. And if Oklahoma's defense can come up with big stops, then I say that this will be a much closer game than people expect. But in my opinion, I think Tennessee will walk away with this with a 2-3 touchdown victory over Oklahoma. That is my opinion. You guys could think differently. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys' predictions are. And I'm going to be doing polls all on KBM. So check out the channel. Check out my community thing. Because right after this live, I will be posting all of the the polls, so make sure you guys click those polls, and I will be posting some of them on my Instagram. So the link is for my Instagram is down below, so make sure you guys check out my Instagram, because I'll be doing the polls, because I want to see what you guys are thinking. Do you guys got Louisville beating Georgia Tech, or do you guys got Georgia Tech beating Louisville? Then we have our next game, which is a top 15 matchup. We got the Utes of Utah, number 12, going up against the Cowboys of Oklahoma State, number 14. And in this one, I really believe in, they're both 7th-year starter quarterbacks. That's the funny part. They're both 7-year starter running back or quarterbacks. I believe in the Utah Utes. I believe in Cam Rising. I believe we all know what Utah can be when Cam Rising is on the field, and he is back on the field after that hand injury. And I believe he's going to be the difference maker. He last week has showed, I'm not going to lie to you, yes, they played Utah State, and they beat them 38-21. But it showed that they need Cam Rising. Utah showed they rely on Cam Rising a lot, and I think they're going to be relying on him a lot today, or in this game at 4 o'clock on ESPN, on Fox. I think that's what's going to happen there. I think that you're going to see Utah pull it off. Then we have the battle for the Floyd Rosedale. The battle for the Floyd Rosedale. Who will it be? Will it be Iowa or will it be Minnesota? Will Minnesota win it back-to-back years? It's on at 7:30 on NBC. And honestly, I think Iowa gets their revenge. I really do. I believe that Caleb Johnson will be the difference maker. And I think I hope I don't regret this, because my heart was saying Minnesota, but my gut's telling me Iowa. It's a hard one. I'm going with my gut here, and my gut's telling me Iowa. My heart's telling me Minnesota, but my gut's telling me Iowa. So I'm going with Iowa here. It was a coin flip, if I'm to be completely honest. I feel like this is going to be a great game, like I said, but I got to give it to the end. If we're going defensive-wise, yes, Minnesota is ranked 5th overall in the nation, but we all know that Iowa is what they're known for, wrestling and defense in low-scoring freaking games. Then we got ECU Liberty. I want to say ECU would win this, but from what I've seen from who they lost to last week and how they lost, I think that Liberty will take this game and go to 4-0, and they'll start hyping Liberty up again. Oh, they're this good of a team. They're this, they're that. When at the end of the day, I don't really think they're that good. I think that they're a little bit overrated. This is an easy game for them. I think this will be a game that they will win. Then we got Rutgers versus Virginia Tech, and I got Rutgers pulling this one off. A little upset there, a little upset brewing. Yes, I know that's a crazy pick. I know a lot of people are going to be picking Virginia Tech to win that, but I got Rutgers to win this one. A game-winning field goal. It's on at 3:30 on ESPN. Then we have Arkansas versus Auburn. I think Auburn goes. They're at home. It's Auburn. If Auburn wasn't at home, I would pick Arkansas, but Auburn's at home, and I don't think Auburn will lose to Kansas at home. Then we got Michigan State versus Boston College. I got Boston College beating Michigan State. I don't believe in Chills, Chiles, C-H-I-L-E-S. The starting quarterback, a transfer from Oregon State, going to Michigan State. I think Michigan State still has a couple more things to figure out on their offense. I think BC knows what they do. Castellanos, Bond, they know what they got to do, and I think they will do it. And especially what I've seen against them versus Missouri last week, I got my money on Boston College. Then we got Arizona State versus Texas Tech, and in my opinion, Arizona State's probably gonna just dominate them, dominate Texas Tech. Just their run, Scattleboro, like Levitt, they're just going to do what they got to do, and I think that they're going to take care of business at 3:30 on FS1 against Texas Tech. And then we have our two FCS games of the week, which is number 4, Idaho, going up against number 23, Albion Christian. I got my money on Idaho. Idaho will take this, and they are 4th in FCS, and I think they will stay 4th in FCS. Then we have number 21, SEMO versus number 7, Southern Illinois. And I believe that Southern Illinois will take this. Yes, I picked the 2 hires, and I don't think there will be an upset here. Later in the year, I think there will be more upsets in FCS and be better games. As right now, it's the beginning of the season for FCS, so they're still playing their FBS teams and all that. So I think this is going to be a great week of college football. I can't wait to tune in. And I've got to say, we have the battle of the Iron Skillet. We have TCU, SMU. Both teams have to prove something. Both teams have to prove something in this. Before I forgot to say it. Both teams got to prove something, and I really believe that it will be SMU. I didn't even have that one written down, but I got SMU. I got SMU winning that. So, that is my predictions. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Join the KBM Sports Talk family. I will be going live this weekend for Sunday Night Football and maybe a college football game. I don't know which one. I'll keep track of my community post. I will be keeping you guys updated on when I will go live and stuff like that. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Join the KBM Sports Talk family on the road to 500. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of my predictions and all that stuff. And until next stream, see ya!